style. That's what Browner said. Browner said Lindy Infante used to wear a headset like this.
He did.
I think he was right. For a while, when there were no headsets in stock, I could buy this one. And it's probably because Lindy Infante didn't need an extra one after the Packers fired him back in whatever the heck year that was. Anyway, welcome to the Friday show tonight. Hafeman Bros, joined by Jason Eckes. Eckes, how are you? We're glad to have you back, buddy. How you doing?
Doing better. Glad to be here. Missed you guys. Busy guy, so it's hard to make it all the time live, but I try and catch up when I can. Glad to be here.
Man. Well, we're glad to catch you here too for a Friday night, and also glad you're feeling better after getting your second round, right, of vaccine and rebounding. So
Second round and round 2 kicked my butt. I was rough for about 11 hours, and then it's like somebody flipped a switch and it was gone. So done with it.
That's what so many people have said about the Moderna vaccine. You know, that's really, that second dose kind of really kicked him in the butt, and then it's almost like, oh, all of a sudden your body got everything figured out and you're good to go. So nice. Also, that might have something to do. I found out last weekend that Dolly Parton had something to do with that Moderna vaccine. So I don't know if that's why it's got the extra kick or not, but that's what I did find out. She was involved. Fun fact.
Okay.
Fun fact. I learned it from these two young legislators here in the state of Wisconsin that are newly elected and do a radio show on Saturday mornings that I produce their show and stuff. And they love Dolly Parton. They're like in their mid-20s. And for some reason, they love Dolly Parton. And they talk about her all the time. And so they talked about that last week. And that's how I learned that little fun fact. So there you go. Ben's here. How you doing, Ben?
All right.
Aaron Jones is still a Packer. Woo! Gotta like that.
It's good.
Eckes, how are you feeling? We haven't had a chance to talk to you about all the Packers activities. We'll get into some planned things tonight that are more timely. We want to get Eckes' take on the Packers offseason so far. What do you think so far, Eckes?
It's been, how do I want to say it? I'm glad they didn't overspend. You know, you always want them to do something, to go and get somebody and do something and make it look like they're doing something and blah blah blah. And I mean, how much JJ Watt would have been okay if they would have went after that, but I don't want them spending Kenny Galladay money. I don't want them spending all this money just chasing to shut everybody up. So I'm hoping they have a plan, and all the people they're re-signing, aside from the Kevin King signing, that stupid made no sense. But I'm hoping that, I mean, the team that they had got them to the NFC Championship game two years in a row. And they kept most of the pieces in play and hopefully upgraded at a defensive coach. Now, did that coach see something in a couple of pieces that we wanted removed? Possibly. And is the scheme going to change enough to use them more effectively? They're smarter than me. I don't see it, but I'm hopeful. I'm Eckes. I'm optimistic, as always.
Yeah. Well, I mean, that's kind of the thing, right? We don't know how the defense is going to change. I think what was clear, though, one thing I'm excited about, and Ben, I'm sure you are too, after hearing the Joe Barry talk about this, is that he wants the defense to be aggressive. He wants them to play fast and furious. He said that, fast and furious. So that's different than like the petting back and forth. Like, I'm going to be aggressive and I'm going to be super passive and then blah, blah, blah. And just kind of like, you know, and Dom did the same thing forever and ever, where it was like, oh, now we're aggressive at times and then we're super passive at times. He wants the guys to play fast, which means to me that the scheme will be simplified, hopefully, so they know what they're doing at all times and don't have those confusing mix-ups in the secondary and all that stuff. But also that, okay, fast and attack you would think, appeal to some of these players. Like, you could use Savage in unique ways. And yeah, you could. And then Zadarius, hey, if you want to go and fly upfield, go fly upfield, dude, because that's what your defensive coordinator wants you to do. And Kenny Clark, penetrate. You don't have to two gap. You don't have to try to take on double teams. Penetrate, cause some havoc. Use your skills. And it also says to me that Ty Summers should be on the field because he's your fastest guy at a position that could attack. So I'm hoping all those things happen and it results in more turnovers, more negative plays, for the offense that they're going against, and more opportunities for our offense. That's what I'm hoping. Perfect
They
storm.
have to tackle better then. I hope they
True.
get their fundamentals better and tackle better instead of that Kevin King hit somebody and then watch them go around them. They can't do that if they're going to attack more, which I hope, but I don't know what Joe Barry brings with him. It's unknown,
Well, he's a linebackers guy. And I'm hopeful that he sees a little bit from what he saw from Ty Summers last year and the chances he got to be in the field and says, whoa, hey, this guy has things that none of these other linebackers we have, like Barnes. Yes, okay, he's a solid guy. Great. He should be on the field. But the Summers guy is different. So let's get him on the field. Let's train him up. Maybe Joe Barry can make him even better and then get him out there and turn him into a stud. 7th round stud linebacker would be awesome. What do you think about that, Ben?
Yep.
Well, just like it's interesting, right? Because we went back through in our minds about the Packers' history with middle linebackers, inside linebackers, all this sort of stuff, right? And I looked up some stuff on linebackers today, just since I didn't mean to start at this point in the show because it's not timely, but we'll talk about it since we're talking about it. And Ty Summers, okay, Ty Summers has speed. Ty Summers has instincts. He's raw. He didn't have a lot of experience. He wasn't the best tackler, right? That's what everybody says. Okay. So I was trying to think, though, when was the last time the Packers had speedy interior linebacker? And it was basically Clay Matthews when they forced him to play inside instead of playing outside. And then other than him, that one part of one season, when was the last time they had a speedy inside linebacker? And I'm blanking. I mean, they had solid, good inside linebackers. I like Desmond Bishop, but he wasn't fast. I love Bernardo, but he wasn't fast. Hawk definitely wasn't fast and wasn't physical, and he held down that spot forever. So I can't even think of it. Can you think of it? Anybody in the chat? Bernard, if you know somebody, Rick, if you can remember a guy who was fast at inside linebacker for the Pack, tell me. Either you guys have any recollection of a speedy, impactful inside linebacker?
Well, the game has changed so much in the last 10 years that a speedy inside linebacker wasn't needed in the past. In the past, an inside linebacker who was able to take on offensive linemen and shed blocks and also tackle was more important. Nowadays, you need to have a guy who doesn't have to even worry about taking on the blocks because he's fast enough to get past the block. Like the offensive linemen don't even get the hands on him. And that's the difference between guys like, Darius Leonard, Fred Warner, White from Tampa Bay. Those are all the cream of the crop middle linebacker type guys. And they're all super fast and they're not very big. Like some of these guys are like 215, 220. They're not like big guys. But they get past the offensive line. The offensive line doesn't even get the hands on them because they're too slow to catch them. And they make a play or they mess the play up or they do whatever. And they can also cover tight ends and slot receivers and running backs out of the backfield, which is not something that was even needed until, when the 49ers started passing the ball to running backs, that was the first time where anybody was like concerned about having the middle linebacker maybe has to worry about covering somebody. They usually just had to worry about the run and stop the run. Ray Nitschke, right? Mike Singletary with his eyes looking at the backfield is super big, right? That was the middle linebacker everybody thought of. And it wasn't until later on where we even started to need some guys that could actually cover. And even guys like Brian Urlacher, was he really a cover guy? I don't know. He sat back in zone and Aaron Rodgers threw him an interception in the NFC Championship game that one time. That was just because he was lucky and Rodgers didn't see him. It wasn't like he was a good cover guy. But nowadays, You need guys to cover because the freaking teams pass all the dang time. There's hardly ever a fullback anymore. That was the part of the other thing. The middle linebacker had to take on the fullback and knock him over so that they could make a play, right? That was the whole point. But now there isn't a fullback. So the middle linebacker doesn't have to worry about the fullback. He just has to get past the offensive line, who's too slow to block him anyways. So if you have a guy who's 240 and runs a 4.6 or a 4.7, he can still get blocked by the offensive line and get taken out of the play, and he can't cover the guys in the secondary. So it comes down to the difference of the way offensive teams are played nowadays and what the role has become. And what the role has become is a fast guy who can cover, who can make decisions quickly and get to the open spot on run plays, get to the hole, not get touched and make the play, and then also cover guys in the secondary somehow. And Ty Summers is that guy. If you go back and watch the show from whatever that was, it was like one of the last 3 weeks of the season where I broke down a whole bunch of Ty Summers videos with Darth Vader. And there you go. I'm just kidding. But that was what he did. We watched him cover tight ends. We watched him cover running backs. We watched him cover slot receivers. We watched him get in the hole and make a tackle. We watched him outrun a center and a fullback against the 49ers to make a play on the sidelines to stop a guy from getting the first down because he was too fast. They couldn't catch him. And those are all
was David Bakhtiari.
No. That was a different play and a totally different thing. But it is interesting to see that one of the questions to Goody during his press conference, this last press conference he had, was asked about, hey, maybe it's important to have some speed inside linebacker. And he was like, yeah, it's important. So, like, I really don't want to talk much about the Packers inside linebackers until after we see what they do in the draft. Because there are a couple guys who are considered fast, undersized inside linebackers who might be available to be drafted, at Packers 29. Would they take an inside linebacker 29? I don't know. I mean, they're not going to get the guy, I can't remember his name, but the number one.
Collins.
Well, Collins might be one of the guys they're going after. But there's the other guy who's like really awesome. I can't remember.
Parsons.
He's like
Parsons.
Yeah, he's fast and he's freaking huge and he's like a monster and like he's everything all in one. So, but they'll never get him unless they trade up, but they probably won't.
I mean,
but that's what I'm saying. I'm saying the times have changed, and unless you could find some like the Parsons guy who's like all he's Ray Nitschke mixed with Darius Leonard. Okay, well you can find a guy like that, awesome, but there aren't many of those guys. It's just not going to happen.
Yeah, you don't need. As an inside linebacker, you don't need to be a big thumper anymore. You don't got to like crush guys when you tackle them. You just got to get them on the ground. You got to be fast. Like you said, avoid the blocks, get them on the ground. I do want to say a quick thing about Bernard. Yeah, he mentioned A.J. Hawk. Now, A.J. Hawk was actually pretty fast when he first came into the NFL, but he was undersized and getting his butt kicked. And so the Packers made him gain weight. And when he gained weight, he slowed down. So after like his first year or so, he was much slower because he put on the extra pounds. And then he just wasn't that physical type of linebacker anyway. So that's why I don't really count A.J. Hawk in there as a guy that stands out to me. I really hope the Packers, and I've got my list. Remember I told you I was going to do Packers starters, offense and defense, what I think, and then also where they have holes. That means they have to draft a starter. So I'm going to show you that a little bit later in the show. And also, those openings that I see mean I really hope the Packers don't go for an inside linebacker this year because I think they got the guys on the team in Ty Summers and Chris Barnes to hold it down, to do the job, and to be potentially impactful if used in the right way and put in the right position. Now, I looked up a couple of quick things, right? So Chris Barnes last year, he had 80 tackles, played in 13 games. He was out for a couple of games, injury, all that sort of stuff. He had 80 tackles in 13 games. Ty Summers played in 16 games, only started one, and he had 39 tackles. And then
he only had like actual time in 3 games.
Right.
And one of them was the second half of the 49ers game. The other 2 were the Saints game and the Atlanta game was where he played exclusively. And he had 39 tackles. So he had half the tackles of Chris Barnes with only like pretty much 2 games worth of play as starting inside linebacker.
That's what I'm saying. And then the other part they'll say about him, the negatives they'll say about him is that he misses tackles. Well, Barnes' missed tackle rate was 8%. So 8%. He meant 8% of the tackles he missed. Summers was only 9.3%. So pretty comparable.
The difference too also is just sorry.
No, that's fine. I just want to throw an interesting comparison in there.
Well,
go for it.
Well, Chris Barnes also sometimes didn't get close enough to make the tackle.
Exactly.
Because he didn't have the speed to get there. So at least Ty Summers got there and slowed the guy down a little bit. Right. So that you have to take that into account as well. Okay, there you go.
But I mean, they're very comparable, and people liked Chris Barnes, and they're like, "Oh, look how good of a job he's doing," right? And I'm saying Summers is almost right there with him. And as I looked up, because I wanted to compare, I looked at Patrick Queen from last year. So Patrick Queen had 106 tackles, blah, blah, blah. People were like, "Oh, he made an impact." Patrick Queen had a 16.3% missed tackle rate. Yep. He missed a lot of tackles. So he was probably not the guy that we necessarily wanted. And we got a guy who's already better than him right now who can make the impact in Ty Summers. Now, one other thing we need from the Packers is, obviously if you're going to draft an inside linebacker, you want that guy to be a starter and be awesome right away. And the one guy I looked up that was Bobby Wagner, who was like ridiculous, started right out of the gate, 140 tackles his first season. He was awesome. He actually had one of his seasons where his missed tackle rate was 0.7%, less than 1%. It's like, oh my God. But those guys just don't come around all the time. Anyway, they got him as a second round pick. The Seahawks did back in 2012. So we're not going to get that lucky, but Ty Summers is awesome, man. And he could totally do it. So, all right. Anyway, I'm going back and everybody raved about Barnes and how good he was and blah, blah, blah. And I like Chris Barnes, but I'm just saying Ty Summers in very limited action showed more production and tackles, didn't have high missed tackles percentage more than Barnes. It was very comparable. And he's faster.
He's way better in coverage as well. Way better in coverage.
That too. So anyway, we got to get Ty Summers on the field. That's one of the pieces that has to happen. Okay, just to recap some recent things, Aaron Rodgers wrapped up his Jeopardy hosting this week, his guest Jeopardy hosting, and apparently they gave the gig to some other person anyway. What the heck is that all about? I thought he did a good job.
That's what we heard from the insider from Algoma.
That's right.
I haven't seen it in writing or anything, but that's what we heard from the insider. So,
inside scoop from Algoma. It came to us.
Which means Aaron Rodgers is going to be pissed. He wanted to be the head man at Jeopardy, and now he's not, and he's going to be freaking mad. He's going to or he's going to be depressed, or I don't know, because I don't know.
All right.
Who knows? I don't know what he's going to do. I don't know.
He'll be all right. He'll be all right. I just think it's a little disappointing for him, obviously, because I think he enjoyed himself a lot doing that. I think he did certainly a good job, and would have been kind of cool to be able to do that. And then, hey, when you do leave football, people ask him the question, would you leave football for this and all that? And he's like, no, I really want to keep playing. I think I can play for another 5 to 7 years or so. And he thought he could do both. So that would have been awesome, whatever. But we'll see. That didn't happen now, but maybe this other guy will fall on his face or whoever.
I was going to say, this guy could just be a placeholder for a year or two, and, not a big deal.
Could be. Okay, I do want to mention now that as we talk about the draft. Oh, okay, go ahead. You got something else?
Maybe what happened was Jeopardy was going to go for Rodgers, and then Rodgers went and said, hey, I'm not planning on quitting football. I can do both, because it wasn't announced until after Rodgers said that. So maybe Jeopardy is like, listen, you got to give us all you got or nothing. And now Rodgers said he wanted to do both. They're like, okay, forget it. We're going to take somebody else. So maybe Rodgers is to blame all along.
Oh, we're not to blame.
Come on. Jeopardy is like what? 16 days of work or something a year? I don't
He wants to keep playing football. You can't blame him for that. And they knew that as well. So you think, whatever, who knows? Anyway, the point is, it appears that that's not going to happen for him right now, but down the road, you never know what could happen. Certainly, who knows? But I think he did a good job in his guest stint. I liked to have him on there, and like he said too, I think he brought a little bit different audience to the show, and people enjoyed it. Now, about the Aaron Rodgers contract not being restructured yet, which again is kind of a lot of people speculating on it, a lot of people talking about it. Jordy Nelson chimed in this week on the Pat McAfee show. AJ Hawk had some things to say and some other formats. I guess the general thing being they just can't understand, why the Packers wouldn't find a way to get it done. And again, the sticking point there seemed to be that Rodgers wanted more security that he was going to be committed to long term, and it appears the Packers didn't want to do that. They might have wanted to push some money. They might have been fine doing that, but they didn't want to give him more years onto the contract. So that's reality, folks. I guess, what do you feel about that? You really think, thinking like Nico, that he's going to stick, they're going to find a way to keep him around, or is he going to have another MVP season for the Packers to be like, okay, now we'll extend?
Well, first, I think getting rid of Rodgers in any form is a mistake. You don't get an MVP quarterback, or even quarterbacks as good as Rodgers. You don't get them as frequently as we have in the recent future. We've been spoiled. And Love could fall on his butt, and we could go into purgatory for however long, just like the Lion or the Bears or whatever. We could be screwed for a long time. So when you have a quarterback like Rodgers, you hold on to him and you don't let him go. And if Murphy and Gutekunst do let him go, that's their job. They're gone. They should be adios. It's stupid. There's no coming back from that. Now, that said, is it confirmed that Rodgers wants more years and Rodgers wants to I mean, I know that Rodgers said he wants to stay a Packer and he wants to, I know all that, but it seems like it's been quiet. Like Rodgers hasn't come out anywhere and said, hey, I'm trying, they're not trying. And the Packers haven't said, well, we're trying, but he doesn't want to be here. It's been kind of quiet and mixed messages the whole time, so that everything we have is speculation. Nobody knows really what the hell's going on. And so I don't have a good answer. I hope Rodgers wants to be here. I hope that Murphy isn't an idiot and they say, how are we going to let this guy go? But they drafted Love last year, so who knows?
It's interesting because the Packers have been running these smoke screens and like mixed messages since last year's draft, right? Just based on what they said following the draft pick, and then things they said throughout the season, and stuff between what LaFleur said, what Gutekunst said. I mean, it's just been, so to me, and Aaron Rodgers has been saying the same thing the whole time. So I'm more in line with thinking to believe Aaron Rodgers than to believe the Packers right now, because the Packers are playing this game to me where they're like, oh, well, we're just, we're going to try to draft this as a security thing, but then we're going to, he's our guy. Of course we need him. He's our quarterback, but for the future and foreseeable future and blah, blah, blah. And then they keep making moves. And it's like, I don't trust Gutekunst at all. I don't believe anything the guy says. I don't know. Maybe he was the right guy for the job for them because they wanted a guy who was more, Thompson basically, he didn't talk a lot, but when he said something, you knew it was the truth. It was what he was thinking. He didn't cover stuff up and shine it up for the media and stuff. But anyway, I don't like Gutekunst and I want him out of here. But Ben, go ahead.
Really? You don't like Gutekunst? I never knew that.
Yeah. You don't like him either. You don't like him either.
I forgot what I put my finger up for. You said something that made me put my finger up. Oh, yeah. Rodgers has not been saying the same thing lately.
He said he wanted to play the Packers. He wanted to finish his career with the Packers.
No, he has not said that. He has not said that recently.
Because it's reality. It's out of his control. He said for years he wants to finish. It means something to play his whole career with the same team. It would really mean something to him. He wants to play into
No, not anymore. Kenny Mayne said, you can put this down to Ben right now on this interview on ESPN if you tell me, hey, I want to be the Packers for the rest of it, blah, 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 floopity flap. And Rodgers' answer was, I know I don't have the control of that anymore. So.
And it's true. He doesn't.
That's not what he asked him. He didn't ask him, Rodgers, do you have control over your situation in the future? No, that's not what he asked him. He said, do you want to be a Packer? You tell everybody you want to be a Packer for the rest of your career right now. And Rodgers said, I don't have control over that. He didn't say it. He didn't say, yes, I do want to be it, but I don't have control over that. No. He didn't say that. He said, I don't have control over that situation. which
All right,
means
I have a response. for you.
secret code for I don't want to be there any longer than I have to because they're a bunch of jerks and
Disagree.
pissing me off.
Well,
I will tell you this. Hold on, Agus, and I'll let you go. Two things, Ben. One, as a first of all, Aaron Rodgers has already said that numerous times in the media that he wants to play his entire career with the Packers and meant something to him, all this sort of stuff. So why would he have to say it again? He's already said it. And secondly, as a person who sometimes gets asked questions and has to answer them in front of cameras, sometimes you don't necessarily answer that question directly. You say something a little different because that's part of the gig. Anyway,
He
Ekis, go
paused and he went,
And going on to it,
kidding.
going on to what Jay said, with how everything is going with the draft of Love and all this, he might be saying, I'd love to be a Packer, but not if Gutekunst is there. But he can't really say that, you
I
know.
would
He can't
say
say, well, I want to stay there, but I don't want my
Why
boss
not?
here anymore.
I would say it.
He makes more money than Goody does. He could just be like, yeah, Goody sucks. Get him out of here. I make more money than him. I'm more important than him.
And when in Rodgers' history has he gone through and said that? He might sit and pout a little bit on the sideline and look like a kid
And
that just
that's the
pooped his
thing.
pants or something, but he doesn't say something like that.
For our sake, for the fans' sake, Rodgers needs to be more like me and be like, hey,
Oh, God, no.
that guy's an idiot. Get him out of here. I'm more important than that guy. Let me take control. I've been doing that my whole life. Of course, it hasn't got me anywhere, but still. I mean, how many times did I get in fights with Dr. Schwartzoff? All the time. That guy never listened to me. So I understand. Rodgers is like, I don't trust this guy. So, hey.
I wouldn't either.
Yeah, I was going to say, you can't blame Rodgers for not trusting him after everything that's going on. Yeah. They should be begging Rodgers right now, and they're not doing that. So that does concern me. I am scared that Rodgers is gone after this year. I mean, that's not what I want. And if it does happen, then I want Murphy and Gutekunst gone. And I am worried about it. But Rodgers is taking the high road. Rodgers is saying all I can do is play my best. And the thing that makes me kind of think that the Packers maybe do still have Rodgers in the plan is, why would you give Bakhtiari such a long contract? I mean, his buddy that he gave all the money to, it looks like they tried keeping all Rodgers' friends and all these people to keep Rodgers happy. They tried keeping them all around. So why would you keep all of them around without keeping Rodgers around?
You make a good point, I guess. The Packers make some of these moves, but then they make some moves that just totally contradict the moves they just made,
yeah.
which has been the season and the off season, which is why we've been so frustrated and we haven't been all that positive, because it's like, what are you doing? Like, what's the plan here? I don't get it. I don't get it. You know, Kevin King was a perfect case in point. Anyway, yeah. Bernard's got a couple interesting things here. I wanted to, and Bernard, we'll get into the draft here idea in just a little bit. Not go too deep into it, but just we'll get a little bit more into the draft next week. I want to do a feature on a specific guy that I found. But Bernard's
I want to ask you guys a question about the draft later. So
okay, all right. Bernard's hoping they go O-lineman in the first round, wide receiver second round, corner CB in the third round. And he also says, with us on Ty Summers needs more snaps. Bernard, you get it? You get it? You got it? He says Nagler wants Rodgers gone. Yeah, Nagler's always been a Favre guy. He didn't like Rodgers because, you know, he pushed Favre out of town, but he didn't do that. Favre helped with that process, and Rodgers was just playing. And anyway, so that's kind of the scoop. But look, Mo, a Vikings guy, has been on the show and said, why would you ever part ways with that? Look, that's from a team that's been looking for a quarterback for decades, right? They haven't had this sort of stuff. He gets it. The Packers fans and Packers people don't get it because we've had good quarterback play for 30 years almost, right? So, yeah, once you don't have it, then you appreciate it. So don't fall into that trap.
Did I just have, I want it on record that a Hafeman brother just said that good quarterback play, because that would have included Brett Favre time. So
Favre was good. I never said Favre was terrible. I just hated how many picks and how many times he screwed up. That always drove me crazy. That's why I don't get people that don't like Rodgers, because he gives you a bunch of the flash of Favre, but he doesn't screw up all the time. I mean, come on. Anyway,
He doesn't have to give you the flash sometimes. Sometimes just throw
True,
to the
I
open
know,
guy on the 5-yard slant, and he
But he
doesn't
sat-
do it.
But he sat and watched Favre for 3 years, and he learned that if you do all the flash, then they like you more. Then the fans get more excited about the flash, Ben. Where if you're just Joe Montana and throw the ball on time all the time and they hit the 5-yard slant, it's not as exciting.
You got the flash right here, bro.
That's true.
Just give the ball to this guy. He will make the flash play.
There is one pick the Packers could make that could help them if they decide to move on from Aaron Rodgers, but they have to make the right pick. And I'm going to tell you it is later. All right. I'm going to skip over this crap because I don't even want to deal with that. There's some Pat McAfee talked about it because they talked about the Packers, and that's the other part. Okay, I'm going to address it quickly. Because the Packers then, in this Rob Domofsky mystery story with unnamed sources, told some agent, hey, wink, wink, we're ready to make moves, but we got to get this Rodgers thing done. And then it wasn't getting done. And they're like, really? Are the Packers been that active in free agency? No, they have not, except for 1 year, right? And actually and Pat McAfee brought it up in his show, and he said between 2011 and 2017, the Packers were number 32 in the NFL in free agency money spent, way behind the medium, which was like $400 and some million. The Packers were at like $180 million over 2011 through 2017. And then in 19, they went crazy and spent a whole bunch of money, right? And then last year, they got Christian Kirksey and Rick Wagner, who are both gone after 1 year. That was pretty much the extent of their free agent spending, right? So who's to think the Packers are really going to spend and do much more in free agency this year when they already committed money to Kevin King right out of the gate? No, come on, get out of here. So again, I don't like the messaging there. Okay, let's move on to draft stuff. And in the draft, what we have to do is talk about the Packers looking at their current roster, because the Packers do not have the luxury. I'm going to tell you right now, the Packers do not have the luxury to go just best player available, and regardless of whether that's stacking up at a position like they've done in other years. What they need to do is they have some serious holes. They have starting positions they need to fill with the draft because they haven't filled them with free agency and they haven't filled them with other guys yet. And I don't even know if you guys, I'm going to show you this here because it's really interesting. I looked at the Packers website today to see what they think of their depth chart. So let's take a look at that real quick together. The Packers depth chart. Let's take a look at it. Okay. This is offense. First team. They do not have a center. They do not have a right tackle, according to them, on offense. So according to the Packers, they don't have a center and they don't have a starting right tackle. They have some backups listed here, some second team guys, third team guys. No starting center, no starting right tackle. And they have Billy Turner as their starting left tackle, by the way. Yikes. Defensively, they have Dean Lowry starting at D end, which I disagree with. Luckily, they got Kiki starting, yes. And they have no inside linebacker along with Chris Barnes, who is first team. And they got Kevin King back in there as first team corner. Okay, let's take a look at my starters for the Packers here. This is from their current roster. This is my starters for offense and defense. Now, the final guy on the bottom is kind of a guy that would play a lot, who's kind of like the 12th guy in. So I say currently, left tackle, they do not have a starter. They need to draft a player for left tackle. And they got Janky. Bakhtiari's out for most of the season. So they don't have a left tackle right now. They got to figure.
Okay, the draft is for this year, but also for the future. You don't draft a left tackle when you just gave David Bakhtiari a huge contract.
Well, no, he's going to become your right tackle then. He will become your right tackle after that, unless
Runyon. Then say he's the right tackle and Billy Turner or whoever is going to be left tackle for like a couple weeks. Don't say you're going to draft a left tackle.
Billy Turner's not going to be left tackle for a couple weeks. Billy Turner does not get to play. That's my game. Billy Turner is a backup at a bunch of positions. Great. but you don't get to really play unless we absolutely need to put you in there. You draft a tackle that can serve as left tackle until Bakhtiari comes back, and then he goes back to right tackle unless Runyon outplays him. If Runyon's that good, awesome. And then when Bakhtiari gets hurt next time, you put him back in at left tackle. Great, there you go. Okay. Then you got Jenkins. Then we don't have a center, and we need to draft a center. Or we draft a really good guard, and we shift Patrick over to center. That's the other option. That's this guy I just discovered today. I know everybody else probably knew about him, but I didn't know about him until just today when I was looking at stuff. Patrick starting right guard, Runyon, right tackle to start the season. I'm good with all that. Tunyon, they got the tender on him. They got all that stuff set up. He's not technically back yet. He will be back. DeGuara, hopefully back from his injury. Those are my starting tight ends if you're going to have 2 tight ends out there. Otherwise, get rid of DeGuara and put MVS on the field and give me Lazard, Devontae, and MVS. So it's either DeGuara or MVS in that starting lineup. And then Rodgers and Jones. Pretty straightforward. But that line is scary. That's 2 spots. Now, again, they got Turner at left tackle. No. I disagree with that. That's going to be really rocky. But according to the Packers, they do not have a starting right tackle and a starting center. I think they do have a starting right tackle at John Runyon, and I think they don't have a starting left tackle. What do you guys think about that?
I think you're a ding dong.
What? Okay, go ahead.
You don't draft the left tackle. You draft for right tackle.
Well, yes, that's what I'm saying. But you have to have a guy that can play the left tackle spot. You draft the tackle, and he's going to play left tackle to start.
You throw Billy Turner or whoever out there.
Please.
And then you always put Mercedes or somebody over there to help him block on every single play. Give him a chip. Give him a chip to help out. Have the running back always help him out because he's going to suck. He's going to need it on passing plays. That's all you got to do.
That was the other thing. Anybody know what Mercedes' weight is right now? Is he bulking up to play left tackle? Was that confirmed? Was that confirmed or not? That would be the other thing. If you got Mercedes bulked up, he can play left tackle. That's fine. What do you think about Runyon at right tackle?
I think he should be right tackle.
Okay, so why am I a ding dong? I don't get it.
Because you shouldn't draft the offensive lineman for left tackle.
Do the Packers need to draft 2 offensive linemen in this draft that can start for them this year?
Yes. No.
They only need to draft 1 starter?
Yes.
Okay. So you're telling me that the team who had none of their 2020 draft picks start or even play more than 200 snaps needs to draft at least 1 starting offensive lineman from this year's draft?
They need to draft 1 starter and 1 reserve who's solid.
I was going to say.
Yeah, go ahead, Ekis.
I was just going to say, I mean, I think you can piecemeal if you Runyon starts. I mean, Turner's not ideal, but you give him help.
But at left
tackle, think there's no depth.
Turner...
There's no depth there whatsoever. But it's also scary to draft a kid who is 25.
Let's take a look.
To draft a kid that's going to be a starter at this high of a level, that's just scary. You know what?
I mean, they don't have much behind it. They got Yash, and he's one of those free agent guys too that they haven't finalized yet.
So I don't know if we look for depth in free agency, but I just think there's no depth, and you can't really draft depth because you don't know what you're getting. It's a crapshoot.
He is their only backup tackle at this point. Yash.
Okay, you can't look at. This is not quite right. This is based on how it ended last year in the last game of the year.
You have right.
And guys guys they've re-signed are back in there, yes, but they haven't really readjusted everything. You can't tell me they're not going to sign back all those guys all those guys they drafted, that center from Oregon and Stepaniak, whatever the hell his name is. Their names aren't on here. They're going to be there. One of those guys could possibly be a good backup interior offensive lineman.
Those guys are both interior, not tackle.
Yes, I know. You said starting. I said 1 starter, 1 backup at tackle. We don't need 2 starters.
All right.
Period.
I think we do. I think we do.
Why? You got Bakhtiari. You just gave him a crap ton of money. Why would you draft somebody to start two starting offensive tackles? Then one of them, then you're going to waste a pick and have him sitting on the sidelines for half the year if Bakhtiari doesn't get hurt, which he will, though. We know. Okay, fine. But still.
They don't have. I mean, they don't even consider Runyon a tackle.
I don't know why.
I'm considering Runyon a starting tackle for right tackle.
He should be.
So if they don't,
this is what I would do.
Okay.
I start Runyon at right tackle. Period. Done.
Yep. Okay.
Lukey Patrick stays where he is. Jenkins stays where he is. Billy Turner plays left tackle for 2 weeks or whatever, 4 weeks until Bakhtiari's back. And you draft Landon Dickerson and you frickin' kick some A. That's how you do it. That's my question for you guys. Because you're boring me, Jace. We don't know what the draft is. We don't know who the players are going to be yet. We can't go through this stuff because we don't know what they're doing. But this is my thing.
I'm telling you, these are holes that need to be filled.
I know they are. But look at this is what I'm going to say to you. I watched an Andy Herman show today. I don't remember exactly when it was. And he was talking about the Packers' philosophy and how they take shots on key position players in with their first pick every year. Okay. So he's talking offensive line, pass rush, quarterback, and cornerback. Those are the spots. And then he added defensive tackle to try to make his point better because he thought Kenny Clark is good. So he added defensive tackle, even though he forgot about Justin Harrell apparently. And, Dayton Jones. Well, I guess he was considered a pass rusher. But anyways, and what he said was the Packers are drafting these top position or key position or important positions with their first pick overall in hopes, because because they're such important positions, in hopes that one of them will make an impact, okay, and be a stud player, okay. That's what he says. That's why they don't draft a center or an inside linebacker or a safety, though they did safety twice the last couple of years, or running back or wide receiver with the first pick overall. They usually don't draft any of those positions. So they did draft Clint Dix, and they draft Savage in the first round, but he was technically their second pick that year. So whatever.
George Teague too.
So what I'm saying is this, though. This is my question for you guys.
All right.
By doing this, okay, they're usually a good team, so they're usually drafting later on in the rounds, right? Mm-hmm. So by drafting a corner, a defensive edge rusher, an offensive lineman, or a quarterback, okay, that's 4 different spots, and they're drafting between 25 and 32 usually because they're in the playoffs, and they're getting the 4th or 5th best edge rusher, cornerback, offensive line tackle, quarterback, who's not the top player in even this draft, much less a top player in the league. So you're getting a watered down player at a position of premium, yes, but he's not the top player in the draft at his position, okay? Where they could draft a position that other teams devalue, center, inside linebacker, wide receiver, running back, interior defensive line for some of the guys, and then safety, and get the best, most athletic top player at his position, and at between 25 and 32. And then not only that, you're getting a key Pro Bowl type player, at least the best player in this year's draft. So you're considering, and yeah, maybe it's a 50-50 chance he stinks, but it's a 50-50 chance that the top guy stinks. It's probably like a 25% chance or a 75% chance that the 4th best offensive lineman stinks. And by the way, by the time you get to 29, you're drafting like the 6th best offensive lineman at that point. You're drafting like the 5th best corner at that point. You're drafting like, the 5th best pass rusher at that point. You're not drafting the best one. You're drafting the 5th best one. So you're getting that run-of-the-mill guy with their first round pick. Yeah, he's a premium position, but is it an impact player? where you could draft a center, inside linebacker, something like that, who's the best at his position. Number one. Number two, that's your main guy. You don't have to worry about that ever again. Right? And then the next year, then the next year, you use future draft picks to jump up when you really see a key offensive lineman or a key corner, like a really, really good one, to go grab that guy instead of wasting picks every year in hopes that one of these guys that's the fourth or fifth best player at a key position might possibly turn out to be good. You're using draft picks to go grab the guy that you know is good. And then when you're not able to use those draft picks to go grab the guy that you know is good at the key position, you draft the guy who's really good at a devalued position at 29 or whatever they're at linebacker, center, interior, guard, whatever, right? That's what I think. The Packers are doing things, and it's not just the Packers. I watch all these shows, PFF. They devalue every freaking position the same way. They like running back, center, guard. Screw those guys. Inside linebacker, no. I'll take the seventh best wide receiver or the seventh best pass rusher before I'll take the best corner or the best running back. Not the best corner, but the best running back or the best interior lineman. Why? It makes no sense. You need to have good players everywhere.
Yep.
And by wasting your first pick on the run-of-the-mill guy who maybe could be good, you're just wasting a pick every single year. You're doing the same exact thing in hopes that maybe one of them is good. And with the Packers' history, how many of their first overall picks have been good over the last 20 years? Aaron Rodgers, because he fell to him, right?
Yep.
Jair, because they traded up and grabbed him. I'll say that. Whenever they trade up and grab the guy, Clay Matthews, they trade up and grabbed him. They trade up and grabbed Jair. He was good.
They trade up to get Jordan Love.
Okay. But we don't know about him. He might be good. It could have been dumb. And I don't mind if they trade up to get like a corner or whatever. Like Jair was one of the first or second corner drafted that year. I mean, Savage was the first defensive back drafted at 20 or whatever it was that year. Before that, it was all offensive linemen, quarterbacks, defensive pass rushers. So, I mean, they made moves like that, and they've been successful when they do those things. I'm not saying they have to do it all the time. But in this year, all I've heard is everybody saying that they're going to draft a tackle or what. I mean,
I don't want to tackle in the first
it's
round.
like
Don't
the
get me wrong.
seventh. It's like it's going to be like the seventh best offensive tackle because there's so many tackles going before that. He's just going to be another John Michaels. Is that what we want?
No. Bulaga,
Do we want another Derek Sherrod?
No.
I mean, that's what we're going to get if we keep doing it.
Spriggs,
Jason's,
is that his name? Spriggs?
Yeah, Spriggs.
Yeah.
I need a drink because I'm going to agree with Ben.
So, I mean, you know what I'm saying?
No, I totally get that. I totally get what you're saying.
I'm telling you.
Agree you.
Andy Herman's like this. The way they're doing it is genius because they're taking the shot on a key position every year. And blah, blah, and they're going to hit on one of them. And I'm like, okay, well, let's waste freaking 8 years before we finally hit on one spot. Or you can draft the best center or the best inside line or the second best inside linebacker. And like, he's awesome for like years and years and years.
Yep.
I don't know. Yep. I'm not like a genius, but I'm not stupid.
Look, I just want to make this point real clear. I would, in my list, I'm not suggesting they go up and draft tackle in the first round. They need to do their homework. I mean, Bakhtiari is a 4th round pick.
That's right.
They need to do their homework, find a guy that wasn't at a high profile school, and that is a good player, that has good measurables that you can coach up and has the right mentality. Like, that was the thing with Bakhtiari. He was good, right? But not that great that he stood out. But he wanted to work hard. He wanted to be the best. He had this nastiness about him, right? So find the right guy from one of these schools that's not as big or well known and give me that guy, because that guy could turn into being your starting right tackle for however many years, and you could find him in the 3rd, 4th, 5th round. I don't care. So don't get me wrong. When I showed this right here, I don't mean draft a tackle in the first round. I want, actually what Ben's talking about, and I have a guy. I have 2 plans for you. Because Ben brought him up last week, Caleb Farley. If they can get Caleb Farley because of the injury stuff, because that guy was like a top 8 pick before the injuries and all this, if they can get him in the first round, whether it means they jockey and move a little bit, fine. That would be an awesome pick. That would be an awesome pick. Because two things. That would mean, number one, Kevin King's not on the field. And number two, you got him and Jair at the corners. And you can do a lot with that. You can do a ton with that kid. So give me Caleb Farley in the first round. That would be awesome. But then they got to. So the Packers have some movement here. They have some abilities. They got 3 comp picks. They got 2 4th-rounders, 2 5th-rounders, and 2 6th-rounders. So they might have to move up a little bit to get this guy in the second round. But this guy that I discovered, he made everybody discover him, and he's awesome. And we're gonna do I want you, Ben, and maybe I guess you can come back next week if you're free, or whoever's. We're gonna have somebody on with us next week that gets a chance to watch videos of this guy and learn who he is, because he is the guy to pick. He is the Packer that the Packers need to draft. And I'm going to show a picture of him here in just a second because I want to show you guys. It's this guy right here. This guy is a Green Bay freaking Packer. Now, he is Quinn Meinerz, Wisconsin-Whitewater. They did not have a season this year because of COVID, but he went to the Senior Bowl and kicked everybody's butt. And what he did, he's got this little thing about him. He did some training up in Canada where he's knocking over trees and stuff. He dominated dudes like big time guys at the Senior Bowl this year. He's got a great attitude, great personality. He got to be on Good Morning Football. They discovered him and they started having him on Good Morning Football a bunch of times. And he is a character. He's everything you want in a Green Bay Packer. He's from Hartford, Wisconsin, and he is a monster. He blocks to the whistle. He loves to drive guys into the ground. He is the guy. You draft him. Maybe he's your future center. Maybe he doesn't start out as center because he's only played guard. He's trying to learn center. He's got some videos on here too where he talks about how he tried to learn center. He's teaching himself how to play center for more versatility. But that could be a case where you get this guy and you move Patrick to center for this year, and then maybe next year he becomes your full-time center as he learns the position better. He is the guy. This dude right here.
Well, we don't see it.
You don't see it?
No, all we see is your really sloppy handwriting. And that's about it.
Crap. That whole time I was making my point. It didn't work.
That's why we were like, what's going on
Damn
with
it. What am I doing?
looked him up. I'm looking it up on my computer. And
This guy right here. Here he is.
He's a hammer.
Here he is right here. Sorry, the whole time I was saying that. That's what I was looking at.
Oh, I like his gut sticking out. That's a nice look.
That's what he does. He was known for it. He was nicknamed the Gut in high school. He would tuck his jersey up underneath his shoulder pads to let his belly breathe, is what he said.
Yeah.
And he went to Whitewater, Division III. They didn't have a season, but he went to the Senior Bowl and kicked everybody's butt. He was awesome. And he played guard a lot, but he started to play center at the Senior Bowl. That was the first time he's ever played center in a while. At least, I don't know if he played center in high school or not. But anyway, he was guard in college. And then he went to the Senior Bowl, and they worked him in at center. And he said he started to feel really comfortable at it after 3 days. He started working more on center on his own. He's 6'3", 320. His weight's down a little bit. And he's nasty.
Is he projected to be drafted?
No, he's like rocketed up the draft boards. He was not projected on almost anything. And then after his Senior Bowl performance, remember who else did that? Remember Aaron Donald going into the Senior Bowl, and everybody's like, oh, he's undersized, he's this and that, blah, blah, blah. And then he kicked everybody's butt at the Senior Bowl, and all of a sudden he was drafted super high and a stud and kicking everybody's butt in the NFL. That's this guy, except that offensive line, except that offensive guard or center. So, and his personality is awesome. You have to look up his profile on this, look up all these videos, watch him talk to the Good Morning Football people and other stuff. He is awesome, dude. He is.
Where is he projected to go?
Early second round.
Early second round?
So the Packers have to move. They got to use their draft capital.
Well, that's what I was going to say is I was agreeing with Ben.
And get him.
I'm sorry, I didn't mean to butt in.
No,
but I was agreeing with Ben that you know, we don't need 10 rookies on this team. We don't. They brought back the roster intentionally. So don't get 10 guys, get the 6 guys you want. And if you got to move up, I wouldn't be against them going after Parsons. You know, Ben was saying he's just a freak. Look, we need one of those freaks. We need a guy like that. What's it going to cost to go get him? Figure it out. I mean, don't give away everything, but if he solves a lot of problems and makes everybody around him better, go get the damn guy. And get 2 guys in the first round or get 3 guys in the first 2 rounds. Just get the players that are going to make an impact now, especially if Rodgers is on his way out. I don't want 10 rookies. I don't want to look at our draft grade and see this and see all the flyers that we take, even if you get 1 or 2. It seems like they're gearing up to try and do it now, and that's not evident because we didn't do a lot of splashy stuff in free agency, but I don't know. I think they got to make moves in the draft and go up and get players that are impactful this year, as opposed to last year when we got 3 picks, top 3 picks that don't get on the field.
Nobody played 200 snaps for the Packers from last year's draft class. There were only 2 players that were close, Runyon and Martin. That's it. This is the guy. I'm telling you, look him up this week. Look at his stuff. Next week when you come to the show, tell me I'm not right. He's awesome. Oh my God, he'd be.
I've done some mock drafts. It's actually PFF has got one. If you just type in your phone, 2021 NFL mock draft. There's you could do your own mock drafts. It's pretty cool actually, and I've seen his name show up. When I do it, quite a bit. And there was actually a couple where I got him. I just drafted. I didn't know anything about him, but I was like, oh, I need a center. I want to get a center. So and he's listed as a center almost everywhere. On PFF and on the other draft one I did. So, a lot of people are thinking he's going to be a center, or that's what they're moving him to.
What's he ranked as the center? The one guy that Ben really likes.
He's like the 3rd best, I think, because there's another guy from where is he from? Might be Notre Dame, or I don't remember, but there's Landon Dickerson, but because he's got his injury.
But
and then there's another guy.
They don't look like this.
No, they don't. Well, yeah, they don't quite look like that. No, but
he's so awesome, and his personality's so great. Oh my God, Packer fans would love this dude. They would, and he would fit in so good with Patrick. Come on. Oh my God, if the Packers draft this guy, I will surrender all my arguments against all the dumb moves Goody's done. I will be wholeheartedly Packers fan, not complaining, because this is the dude. This guy, get him. He's so awesome. Oh my God.
Who do you think can drink beer faster, him or Bakhtiari?
That would be another thing. They could. Oh God, he's so awesome.
How old is that guy? He might not be old enough to drink beer yet. I mean, I'm not saying that he hasn't. I'm just saying. Just give him until he's at least 21. He's probably 21 by now, but I don't know. Who knows?
He can afford the fine. I did.
Hey, whoa. Nobody wants to hear. I would say, listen, man. I mean, that's cool for this. I mean, if they can somehow get that guy in the 2nd round, that's cool. But let me ask you a question. Okay. Do you think what do you think is a better strategy? Do you think it's better to use picks to jump up and grab a guy that's good, or you believe is good? So maybe you only come up with 5 guys, but you've targeted them, you've studied them, you know what they are. Or sit where you're at. The Packers you just said they've got 10 draft picks this year. And they just keep drafting a bunch of guys like they usually did, like what they did with they drafted 3 running backs and they end up with Aaron Jones, who was awesome. They drafted 3 wide receivers and they end up with nobody. I mean, MVS is fast. Okay. They drafted a whole crap ton of corners every year and they got Jair out of drafting 7 defensive backs in 4 years. And So what do you guys think? Is it better to just keep drafting, like, quantity over quality, or drafting up and using your picks to try to get maybe 2 or 3 pieces that can really impact your team, and then you fill the rest with undrafted guys? Because they end up, it seems to me like they have more undrafted guys who seem to make an impact in year one than the guys they draft.
Mm-hmm.
Right?
Which doesn't
I'm
make
100%. I'm 100% for getting 5 or 6 guys in the draft and filling the rest in with people that have actually played a season or, have that experience, because it's so much different than college. So I'm all for getting just a few of the guys in the top and giving the rest of the stuff away. Yeah, you'll miss out on a 6th round, Donald Driver. You miss those guys, but occasionally you'll find them too. And you don't have to do it every year, but I think this is a year where you go up and you get players. And even if you got to give away a little bit in the future, go up and get them now. Get it. That's just me. And they totally did opposite of what I wanted last year, so I'm not holding my breath.
Come on, man. They got to do it. They really do. I want to see them do something this year. I want to see them be. I think they need 4 starters. I think they need a starting corner. I think they need a starting defensive end. I don't think Dean Lowry is a starting defensive end. And I think they need 2 offensive linemen to really shore up until Bakhtiari gets back. Because who knows? It could be 10 games he's out, or 6 games, 8 games. I don't know. But I don't want to see Billy Turner in the lineup for that long. So I think they need 4 starters. They didn't have a guy who played more than 200 snaps out of last year's draft class. They need guys that are going to start from this draft class. So make them quality players. Move around the board. Get guys at positions you have holes who are good players and get them. And they can start. I don't want any more of this stuff where the draft picks are for the future and developmental guys and maybe a couple of years they'll get on the field. No. We don't have time for that, man. Let's go.
Did you see Bernard?
What do you say now?
Oh, Bernard is killing me. You're killing me, Bernard. You're killing me.
I missed it. Was it?
Oh,
He says, hey, do we want Wilson and trade Rodgers? That's what he said. No, Bernard, we don't want Wilson. We never want Wilson. You know that.
He's trying to mess with us. Oh,
Bernard. If the Packers somehow got Russell Wilson, I would. I mean, I live in Minnesota anyway. I would switch over to the purple. I'm just telling you right now. That would be the straw that broke the camel's back. Russell Wilson, quarterback of the Pack. No way. No way. It's bad enough that he stole Matt Hasselbeck's job, just like Brett Favre stole Don Mikowski's job. I can't freaking have a Brett Favre and a Russell Wilson be Packers in my lifetime. No. Right, Eckes? You wouldn't want Russell Wilson, would you?
No. I never liked him. I never liked that son of that guy. I caught it. But ever since the Fail Mary, and he was like, "Oh, that was a touchdown." And ever since that's smug BS did that, I was like, "Yeah, he better never walk in front of my car."
Look at this, guys. 10 picks. We already said we don't need 10 picks. Stay away from
that's the other thing. We don't have there isn't a whole lot of cap space left for all these picks. Like trade them and just get key players that you've targeted. That'll be impact player. Like, why take flyers on a bunch of late round guys that maybe could be good? Use all these picks to just trade up and get like 4 picks in the top 4 rounds and make them those guys are your 4 guys you really wanted. Even if they draft them too high, according to draft experts, I don't care. And everybody's like, oh, you got to keep trying. You got to keep trying. You got to keep trying. It's like, no.
If players can't get on the field, they can't make an impact.
Well, right. I mean, we already have starters that you showed. We've got starters. They signed all these guys back. And to be honest, Kevin King is probably going to freaking play. So
I hope they get that Caleb Farley dude right away and he doesn't play.
I do
at
think that
this.
the Packers are taking a quarter or a wide receiver in the first 3 rounds. I don't think we need it, and it's not what I want, but I bet you it happens.
I hope not, because what that says to me, like anyone if they do take a wide receiver early, anyone that's like, oh, see, they're giving Aaron Rodgers something now. Finally, no. That's not a wide receiver pick for Aaron Rodgers. That's a wide receiver pick for Jordan Love.
Yeah,
that's what it is.
That'd be a first round pick if they do that. But yeah,
well, or second, anybody early, because the deal is Rodgers. You got to work with him and understand what he's thinking before he'll really trust you. So a rookie wide receiver is not going to be able to do that. So that rookie wide receiver is not for Aaron Rodgers. That rookie wide receiver, from the GM standpoint, they know this, is for Jordan Love. That's what it says to me. So if the Packers
I'm not
draft
saying you're wrong.
out,
I'm just saying it's going to happen.
If the Packers draft a wideout early, that's what their GM is thinking. Now,
well, you know what else he's thinking? He's thinking Devontae Adams, MVS, and Alan Lazard all have this year left on their contracts, or are going to be signed back for a 1-year contract in Lazard's case, and then they're done, or they're going to have to extend them, or whatever. So if that happens, then who we're throwing to? They're going to have to draft somebody this year.
I mean, yeah, but not early, like first or second round. It's a pick for Love, but they do need to get some at some point.
I don't want him to sign back Devontae, and do you want him to sign back MVS? Do we know what he is?
He's working. Did you see? He's working on stuff. He put out another.
I know. If they
video.
were smart, they would offer him a contract right now.
Right.
Because he's worth less right now than what he could. Like if Rodgers comes out and he starts this next season, he pulls it all together and stops dropping passes, and he starts catching those, he would have had 3-4 more touchdowns, another 200 yards receiving.
Yep. He could have 1,000 yards.
He was already number 1 in big plays this last year. And he's number 1 in big play touchdowns this last year out of all players in the NFL. And that includes Tyreek Hill. So think about that. Now, part of that is you got Rodgers throwing you the ball, and he's one of the best in the league. But the other part is it's MVS. He's fast.
Yep.
And if he does it again and he doesn't drop those, sign him now. They screwed up with Aaron Jones. They should have given him the extension a long time before. I don't know. They do it for Bakhtiari and Kenny Clark and all these other yahoos. I don't know.
I agree, man. I think you're right on. I think MBS could be. I still think he's the key to the offense. Again,
he is. He is.
I mean,
Aaron Jones.
I mean, without him, it's a very different offense, right? They can load the box better. They can pull safeties closer to the line of scrimmage. They don't have to worry. I mean, he is a difference maker, whether he catches the ball or not, for this offense. He's an improvement over Jeff Janis. Sorry, Ickes, but he is.
I didn't care about Janis. I'm Coomer.
Oh, okay. All right. Sorry, Coomer. Okay. Anyway, the point is he's fast like Janis, but he catches the ball more frequently, and he's a better route runner, and he is like the only fast guy on this team. So he changes the way the Packers can play offense. Without him, like, yes, they need to offer him a contract and try to get him. It doesn't have to be 4 or 5 years. It can be 3 years, whatever, but offer him a reasonable contract so he takes it. So you got him. Because you're right, Ben. They're looking at a total turnover in wide receivers. And what are they going to do then? Are they going to go out and spend big money next year on free agent wideouts? Are they going to draft 3 wide receivers in the draft next year as rookies and have them play with their rookie quarterback? I mean, I don't know what they're going to do, but they're going to need some guys to play that position. And then they're going to be stuck.
That's something that's been left out, with all the Rodgers controversy and everything, is nobody's talking about Devontae Adams not getting any attention or whatever. And
that's actually a bigger thing when you think about it. Rodgers is still under contract for 3 years. Devontae's contract's up after this year. And they could save $14 million on this year's cap by extending him. And they still haven't done it. They've extended every other Yahoo they could and restructured their contracts, but they haven't done Devontae, which, I mean, that's just screaming to everybody. He will not be a Packer after this year, or at least he shouldn't be based on what they're doing. And you're right. Nobody's talking about it. they all just keep saying, "Oh, it'll happen." Well, why hasn't it happened yet? It shouldn't be that hard.
I don't know.
But the biggest problem is this: Devontae believes he's the number one receiver in the NFL because he said it many times, and he's not. I mean, I hate to say it, Devontae, you're not the best receiver in the NFL.
If he wants that kind of money, then let him walk.
Right. You can't. I mean, like we talked about this a couple weeks ago, where somebody, I think it was John Moe, when we did the show, Aaron Jones re-signing show, and John Moe was talking about, we should have went for. I mean, we could have had traded for Hopkins, and I'm like, Hopkins wants $25 million a year, and if he wants $25 million a year, and he's got it right now because he signed the extension as soon as he got traded to Arizona. You think Devontae thinks he's the best receiver in the league? That's what he's going to want. And I don't want to pay Devontae $25 million a year. Hell no.
No.
He's already making too much at 17.
He's very good. He makes a lot of great plays, but
but he's not. He's got no
limited.
speed.
Yeah.
He's inconsistent with hands still.
Yep.
And his route running is great, but it takes forever for him to get going sometimes.
Right.
Which slows down the offense, which slows down the Aaron Rodgers read, which makes it harder for the offensive line to block longer. He's actually a detrimental to the entire offense. I mean, I hate to say it, and people are going to be like, Ben, you're an idiot. Ben, you're a jerk. I might be a jerk, but I'm not an idiot. He slows down and he disrupts the offense because it takes him so long to get going.
Balaz is on. Holy crap.
Balaz,
what time is it by you, man?
Crap.
You must be up early over there.
Yeah, what time is it over by you, Balaz?
Dang. You got an early shift today or what, man? That's awesome.
Balaz, Bernard. Go ahead,
Have you ever gotten a picture of what Balaz looks like?
No, man.
I'm just curious.
He
seems like a good guy.
I know he looks smart. I can tell you that because he says a lot of smart stuff.
Cheers, Balaz. Have one with us.
Hey, thanks
you don't have to look smart to be smart.
That's true. Look at me. Anyway,
you look semi-smart.
Do I really? No, my kids
sometimes.
don't think so.
Hey, kids never think you're smart. Trust me. Mine just turned 15 today. She doesn't think I'm smart.
Let me throw this up again because I had a couple of things different than the Packers here.
5:17 in the morning, looks like he says.
Whew. All right. So again, I think they need a new DN starter. I like Kenny Clark, Kiki, and I like Gary, not Preston Smith. Thank you very much. Please give me Rashawn Gary starting next year. Ty Summers and Barnes at the inside. Za'Darius, fine. Earn your money, big boy, but play more consistently, please. Jair, crossing my fingers, Caleb Farley. And I'm good with Amos and Savage at the safeties. Again, Sullivan at this outside corner, no. But Sullivan at the slot corner, yes. What do you think about that?
Here's my thinking. I'm still waiting to see what Joe Barry comes up with when it comes to what they're going to do defensive scheme-wise. I know they've said they're talking about keeping the 3-4, 3-4. But to be honest, looking at the Packers tape from last season, they hardly ever played 3-down linemen. I mean, it was only a couple games.
Right.
I mean, against the Titans they did, which helped them stop Derrick Henry, which was awesome. Like they put all the big guys in there. But a lot of times they just had 4-down linemen. They only had 2 defensive linemen in the game, and then you'd have, Preston or Za'Darius or Gary, one combination of those 2 guys in there. So what bothers me about what I'd like to see him do is 4-down linemen, okay, with 2 of the 4 being Gary, Preston, or Za'Darius, and only having 2 interior players. So they might not need a defensive player drafted to start, but to be a good role player coming off the bench. You know what I'm saying?
Sure.
And then what that can do then is I would almost start. You could draft then an inside linebacker who's got some speed, right? And have Barnes and Ty Summers in there, and then this other inside linebacker to play that 3rd role, who then comes out for Sullivan in nickel situations. And what it does is it gives you more speed on the back end. Because here's the other thing that bothers me about the Packers defense for the last couple of years. You know Zadarius Smith is blitzing every play. You know Gary is blitzing every play. You know that Preston drops back in coverage for reasons nobody knows because he can't cover anybody. He should be blitzing every play. I'd rather have somebody who can actually cover somebody like Ty Summers or Barnes, or maybe even a guy they drafted inside linebacker and have three, or like a Will. They call him a weak side linebacker. So he's playing off ball, the tight end's on one side, and they put Summers over there. So it's Ty Summers would always be playing like outside linebacker in a 4-3. Chris Barnes in the middle, or whatever, maybe move those guys around. And Summers would cover the tight end. And then you have another weak side linebacker who's almost like a safety. Like maybe you can put Savage there, to be honest, and you can put Scott free safety deep, or you put Adrian Amos there in that spot. And that's what I would like to see. And I think Joe Barry has done that a lot with the Rams, where he's taken guys and he's moved his inside linebacker and he put him at a outside linebacker. But really his job is just to cover. Look at the tight end and read the tight end. If the tight end's coming out, we cover him. If tight end stays the block, we go and attack the run. And then that weak side linebacker, his job is to stay free and look for the running back. And that's something that could really be different about this team, because when they played the 3-4 for all these years, we know, and the offense knows, Zadarius is never going to cover. He's always blitzing, right?
Rushing, yeah.
So, yeah, rushing the quarterback, like, or whatever, you know, unless a wide receiver blocks him, they're just going to stand there and get blocked. But that's besides the point. So that's what I'm saying is, hey, I don't know if we need a defensive lineman. I mean, I think we need a defensive lineman drafted for sure, but I don't know if it needs to be a high pick.
No, not necessarily. No.
Because Joe Barry may find a way to use the pieces we have and work it around. Like they might, but if they draft another edge rusher, I'm going to lose my mind.
Me too.
Because we don't need another guy who just runs at the quarterback. We already got guys that just run at the quarterback. We need guys who can do multiple things. So we need some sort of inside linebacker or something like that, or a defensive lineman who can hold his own. But if he doesn't have pass rushing abilities, you know, like he's not going to get in the field. Like I would rather see Kenny Clark, Kiki, some combination of Zadarius, Preston, or Gary in the game at the defensive line. And then if it's goal line or we know we have to stop the run, put in Lancaster. He's already been signed for one more year. That's great. We got a good team for stopping the run on goal line and stuff. We've proven that. How many times we stopped guys on 4th and 1 or caused a fumble or Teddy Bridgewater? We stopped the 49ers on 4th and 1 with Ty Summers and Kenny Clark, pretty much stopped the whole thing, right? That's all you need for a defensive line. So, I mean, unless you get a good defensive, like interior defensive lineman, that's fine. I don't want to see any more pass rushers. I don't want to see any more defensive ends. Like you had that starting defensive end. No, not a defensive end. I want a big guy, a big, tough guy.
You like want a big guy, huh? Okay.
Yes.
Well, see, to me, like Lancaster, the signing of Lancaster means I wouldn't think they need that necessarily. But I want another Kiki. I want another dude that can play inside, but is fast enough to even, you know, rush against tackles if you get him in the right spot, do the stunts, make an impact. And he was a 5th round guy. So I don't think they need to draft a lineman. I just don't want edge, like you said. So, you know, that 3 technique kind of guy, doesn't have to be nose, but 3 technique kind of guy that can also be out on the 5 if you need him and has some versatility and has some pass rush and can get in that rotation. Because like I said, Dean Lowry, 35 snaps a game, he's fine. But 50, 60 snaps a game, he's not any good. Same with
Problem with Dean Lowry is he spends too much time on the ground. Like he falls down. If you're on the ground, you're not in the play. He gets blocked to the ground. So when they put him in the interior, he doesn't make a play. When they put him on the outside, he's not quick enough to make a play. So to be honest, like Dean Lowry, I don't know.
Blas is trying to kill me here. He's trying to kill our spirits with saying Ty Summers, they're not going to use him.
Well, they're not because they're stupid, but we don't know. We don't know, Blas. With Joe Barry, maybe he sees something.
He's a linebacker guy. He's a linebacker coach guy. That's his roots in the linebackers.
He doesn't have to necessarily play inside linebacker. he could play that role, like that outside linebacker who just covers all the time. And once in a while, blitz. How about Ty Summers blitz? He's fast. Send him once in a while. They never sent him on a blitz when he was in there. They always had him covered. What happens when they sent to Darnell Savage every once in a while? He made a freaking play. He caused Tom Brady to throw a pick because they wasn't expecting it. But you always expect stupid Zarius and all these guys to rush the quarterback every play because that's all they do. There's no trickeration there. The key to the 3-4 is a trickeration because you don't know which linebacker is coming. That's why it's so good. There's 3 defensive linemen and then 4 linebackers. You don't know which guy's coming, right? But with the Packers, you always know which guy's coming. So it's really not trickery. It's dumb.
Yeah.
I want you to write a book that's called The Key to the 3-4 is Trickeration.
That's what it is.
3 to gold.
Go ask Dom Capers. I guess he'll tell you.
I guess, hey, Blas says Lowry's falling down is useful. He took lessons from Billy Turner. That's a good one.
Oh.
Hey, I guess, are we crazy to be as high on Ty Summers as we are? Like, I mean,
Probably.
you see what we see. I mean, it's limited opportunities, but damn it, he seems to make an impact when he's on the field and he's fast.
And you guys, honestly, I give you guys credit, and everybody that I talk to and I tell them to watch a show and whatnot, I say, God, they watch a lot of tape and they know a lot more than I do because you guys do your research better than I do. I watch Sundays and I rewatch Packers stuff that I'm pissed off about, and that's about it. But you guys do a lot of research, and I give you a lot of credit for it. You're dead on. I want the Packers to get I'd love to see the Packers go after Parsons in the draft. I'd love to see them trade down and just go get him, just like we were kind of talking about. But you guys think like you didn't even think they needed an inside linebacker. I just want that speed. That seems like such a difference on all the top defenses is that middle linebacker flying everywhere.
You're right on that. For
and
sure.
Summers has been on the field, but I never saw that and again, that could be the circumstances he's in,
it's also based on what they ask him to do.
Exactly. So you don't know what his skill set actually is. Could he do that? Could he be flying across like everybody else? I honestly don't know. I haven't watched as much tape as you guys, but possibly. I'm not sure.
He's got the speed. He's got instincts. He shows that. Like if you just see some plays where he reads it and he attacks and he goes and gets the ball carrier before he can get blocked. That's what you need. Like Ben was saying, you avoid the blocks because you attack too soon and they can't get to you. Because most offensive lines, they double the big guys and they scrape off to get the linebacker. But if you read quickly and you act quickly, they don't have time to get you because they can't track you down. But the other thing, so the only, and he's good in coverage, we know that. So the only thing that people have said against him is that he misses tackles. And I already told you, I looked up his missed tackle rate. It's half of Patrick Queen's. It's comparable with most of these other, Kenneth Murray, who just started a full season as a rookie, who was a first round pick. It's comparable with Barnes. He doesn't miss that many tackles. And he makes a bunch more plays that other guys aren't fast enough to make. So I'm telling you, Ty Summers needs to be on the field. I hope this new D coordinator, I feel like Pettin had something against him or didn't, I think what was holding him back was Pettin, because Pettin wouldn't even mention his name. He talked about in the middle of the season, he talked about, we feel good about our inside linebackers now with Kirko and Barnes and Kamal.
Well, he specifically said now. Yeah. It was after Summers had played a couple games and those guys are coming back from injury.
Somebody
then
came
he said,
back from injury.
We feel good now.
I know.
And I'm like, that's funny because in the games when Summers was in there, he was a key, making plays guy, enough so that he got an interview after the game. I don't know if everybody remembers, but he got one of the key interviews after the game where they actually had him on the press conference Zoom call. And they talked to him, and there was a big story. We found out about his wife and this other stuff and all the things and how religious he was. He talked about his religion and all this kind of stuff and how he's a super religious guy and blah, blah, blah. And I didn't know any of that crap until he finally made a good play and played good in the game, and we got to talk to him for once. Before that, I didn't know jack squat about the guy. But when did we ever have Kirksey or somebody, Kamal Martin or Chris Barnes make enough plays that they got to be in the game after as a key guy who made plays. I don't know, maybe once or twice, but they played every
Pettin's
game.
gone for a reason.
Well, it's going to be interesting.
I feel like it was that. So maybe this is a fresh start for him. I would have him play the Mike linebacker so he is on the field all the time because he is the guy who can make the most plays. He is the guy that can make the biggest impact on the team. He is Blake Martinez, not as good of a tackler, but faster. That's the role I want him in. I want him in the Blake Martinez role. Chris Barnes could be the extra guy that comes in when they have two linebackers in, but when there's one linebacker in the game, that linebacker better be Ty Summers. And I hope Joe Barry figures that out. That's what I need to see from them. And then they don't have to spend an early draft pick on that guy because they give this guy who has some skills a chance. We just need to see it. I mean, Ben and I have talked about it for a while with some of the moves.
All you have to do is compare it to what we've been, and we haven't always had a show. We've only had this show for 2 years. But talking to each other, Aaron Jones, his rookie year, that's all I talked about. And his second year, I was like, why can't we get this guy in the field? Why can't we get this guy in the field? Same thing with Robert Tonyan. Jason and I were going nuts about Robert Tonyan for years and years. And they still have Jimmy Graham and whoever else was there before, Cook and frickin' Martellus Bennett and all these Yahoo, whoever was there. Play frickin' Robert Tonyan. He's the man. And Ty Summers is the same type of guy. Play him. He's good. It's time. When you don't have a proven guy at that spot, and it's the same thing, running back, tight end, and an inside linebacker, and they wait 2-3 years for a guy, even though he's there, and when he gets in the game, he makes plays, but they're like, oh, well, he doesn't quite know what's going on, and we got to play this other guy. Okay, but that other guy doesn't make plays. It's like the Will Redmond problem. Let's play Will Redmond, even because he knows what to do, but he never seems to do anything. So what's the point of playing a guy who knows what to do when he never does anything? There's no point there. It's dumb. At least put somebody in there who might make a play every now and again. So he's wrong 20% of the time. The other 80% of the time, he makes a play 40% of the time. That's 40% more than freaking Redmond, who knows 100% what to do and 0% making plays. I just don't get it. And these guys, and we just watch it from watching games and tape every now and again. They should know this from watching, like working with the guys every day, watching practice, all that kind of stuff. And maybe they're dumb. Maybe they don't know what's going on. And maybe that's why they don't play it. I don't know. But when you watch a game and the guy makes plays, I don't give a crap how dumb he is. If he's out there and he makes a play, it's defense. You don't have to be that smart on defense. Just react and go make a play.
Simplify it. Free him up. Let him go. That's the thing. A guy that's got ability like that. And the other thing I will point out is Matt LaFleur named him numerous times in post-game press conferences about how he felt good about Ty Summers. And it was Pettin who would not say his name. So I still think, and I know everyone will talk about they won't use Summers and they'll just keep doing it. Well, okay, blah, blah, blah. And we keep talking about it. No, I'm telling you that Pettin was the roadblock here. The head coach is on board. He sees what we see. He sees a guy that's fast. Yeah, maybe he's a little raw, but so are all the guys they have at that position. He sees the potential. He sees what he could be. And all players talk about it. How do they get better? Game reps, practice reps, and game reps. Well, Ty Summers currently at fourth string inside backer was not getting many practice reps, and he only got game reps when they got enough injuries. So LaFleur knows it. Get him on the field. You got this new head coach that LaFleur said was the right guy for the job, a linebacker-centric guy. Maybe he's the guy to unleash Ty Summers on the world and make us all look like geniuses because I believe it. I believe he's got the ability to do it, man. He would be awesome.
I'm not saying you're wrong, but I think they're going to take a linebacker in the first round.
All right, fair enough.
And I would be doubting that because, like I said, Goody in this one interview was like, when somebody asked him about fast inside linebackers, we had said this earlier. He was like, yeah, it'd be nice to have one of those or whatever. Like, he's seeing it. He's seeing Tampa Bay the Colts, the 49ers with these fast inside linebackers who make plays all over the place. And he knows he doesn't have that, even though we do at Ty Summers, but they don't realize it or whatever the case is. I think what needs to happen is LaFleur needs to get more involved with the special teams and with the defense and maybe override them. If he sees like maybe he doesn't know all the schemes, right? And maybe he doesn't know exactly what they're supposed to be doing. But in practice, he sees Ty Summers make a huge play, right? Or he sees, a guy in special teams do something crazy. He should go up to the special teams coordinator or Joe Barry and be like, listen, I know you think that a guy doesn't know what's going on, but every day in practice, he's making plays. I don't care. When he gets a chance, he makes plays. Play him. And if something goes wrong, I'll take the heat for it. I'll say I pulled him to play. You know what I mean? Because as the head coach, it's your job.
Yeah.
I mean, you don't do the intricate stuff every now and again, but you set the broad pattern of what's going on. You should be doing that. And I with Pettine there, I don't think he was allowed to do that on defense. And plus, maybe his head was swimming because he was first-time head coach. Maybe he didn't quite have the ability to do that. And he was like, okay, I got Pettine. He used to be a head coach, super smart guy. He knows what's up with defense. I'll just let him do his thing. But the problem is, like you said, Jace, Pettine had bias against certain players. Ty Summers, Josh Jackson. Didn't see the field for reasons we don't know.
Right.
And it's not like they were that much worse than the players that were on the field. If anything, they made just as many plays. And for some reason, they got zero playing time. In some cases, even being inactive. Like Josh Jackson, who didn't even get to be active in the playoffs. I mean, that's crazy to me. This guy was a second-round pick in his third season with the team, and he's not even active. When you just signed Tremont, who just retired, that's how old the guy was. You signed him to play, and of course, didn't play him at all. But that's why you didn't activate Josh Jackson. He couldn't even get on special teams. He wasn't good enough to even play special teams. I don't quite understand that. Then why is he on the team anymore? You know what I mean?
Yeah.
It just there's some things that just made no sense to me. And hopefully LaFleur get his face in there with the defense coordinator and be like, listen, why do you have a problem with this guy? Because I see him making plays. Get him in there.
All right. We got it. We got enough on Ty Summers there. You guys know how we feel.
Hey,
Ben,
I don't
is there
care.
anything else draft-wise that you wanted to go on about or talk about?
No.
Okay. I just want, since Blas came on after we talked about this guy, Blas, one quick note for you. This is the guy I'm claiming the Packers need to draft.
Yep.
From Hartford, Wisconsin, went to UW-Whitewater, Division III school, dominated at the Senior Bowl. Maybe you know his name. I didn't know it until today. And he is awesome, man. So check him out. We're going to do a show next week. We're going to feature on this guy. We're going to have Ben and probably Rick. Rick, if you're around, you love talking offensive line. Maybe Rick could be on next week if he's available. Learn about this guy. Check out his story. Check out his personality. We'll talk about a bunch about him next week. And you guys will all be convinced as to why I am saying he is a guy the Packers need to get in this draft. And not just because of this picture. Look at that. He's Wisconsin, man. He
does help.
Green Bay Packer.
But they never take Wisconsin guys. Even though every time they do, they're usually good.
It's time to break the trend. It is
Mark
time
Tauscher.
to break the trend.
Mark Tauscher was awesome.
Oh, man. Thanks for hanging with us. Eggus, thanks for hanging around. Glad you're doing well, buddy. Take
awesome
care
to see you guys. Missed you.
Always good to see you. Hey, we're going to set up a draft, HFF draft this year. And Mo wants to get crazy, play basketball, do all kinds of things. So think about it if you can make it.
I'd love to. I was going to ask what are the plans for the draft first round?
We're going to have to do it again, Ben.
Well, yeah, we have to. That's the
one
video people actually watched of us was that.
I think you got to have like 12 different, because there's going to be a lot of us that want to be involved, I think so.
Well, yeah, I think we should have everybody on. And then, I think the other thing too, we don't have to start from the first round because the Packers aren't going to draft. You know what I mean? Like we could start later on. Like, you know what I mean? We don't have to
I'll sit there and drink beer.
We don't have to go for 4 hours long. That's nuts. But then we should do a show Friday, and then during the day Friday, I'll get together video and stuff of whoever we take, and then we can really dive deep into what we got.
Well,
you know,
that's
then
opening
also
weekend, so I'll be there Thursday night. and then you have fun. I'll catch you on after opening fishing.
Fair enough.
Opening fishing, barf.
We'll get out reach out to Corey too and see what he's got to say. Maybe we can track him down as well.
Well, yeah, we
for
can
some of
try to get everybody who's ever been on there.
rather than having everybody all on at the same time, we can schedule in times kind of and have a couple people on at once and then circle you guys through. So you guys don't have to hang out the whole time. You can if you want, but that way people can kind of bounce in and out a little bit and they don't have to
That'd be a fun idea too. Yeah.
do all that with us. Ben and I'll stick around, but yeah. Anyway, they'll do something dumb and we'll probably freak out again and who knows, but hopefully not. I'll tell you what, if they draft that dude, I'm going to flip out in a good way.
Well, if they draft him in the first round, I'm going to flip out because I'll be like, no, not
He's like the
round.
third top. He's like a top 40 pick. That's what they're saying. American
Yeah,
top
but-
40, Ben. Wisconsin top 40. What's wrong with that?
I don't know. That's a little high. But hey, if he's really that great, I'm okay with it then.
Oh
Yeah.
my God.
If it's a first round pick that actually works out, we'll take it.
I guarantee he'd be better than Brian Bulaga. How's that?
Whoa.
100%.
So better than an average right tackle who was supposed to be a left tackle who got hurt every single year. Okay, awesome.
He's like Lucas Patrick, but an upgrade. Oh my God. I just see those guys in the interior like mauling guys. Then you want the rushing attack that you want with those guys on the inside just mauling everybody?
I know. That's what I'm talking
God.
about. That's why I want Landon Dickerson. But if this guy is just as good as Landon Dickerson, I'll take it.
This dude knocks over he knocked over trees in Canada. Watch the videos. Oh, he's so awesome. All right.
All right.
Ekis, you're a good dude. Ben, you're good too. All right. Happy birthday to Olivia. Let's sing it. Ready? Happy birthday.
No,
No? Okay.
she's
all
not
right.
even
Sorry.
here. I don't know where she is. She's out doing something. I don't know what she's doing.
Ben didn't promise, but his daughter was pressuring for us to sing happy birthday on our show tonight to her one more time. But he already sang it to her 2 times as a family, so she's got it. Anyway, happy birthday to Olivia.
And
Should be
one
driving soon
second.
enough. Yeah.
All right, what do you got?
April 12th, it was also the birthday of one of the best football players ever. He turned 75. He scored 4 touchdowns in one game. Happy 75th birthday, Ed O'Neill.
That's awesome. Thanks for that, I guess.
Cheers.